Okay guys, we're back with another hardcore leveling warrior video. Now today we're going to do a quick introduction to the mechanics of the game and what you should be focusing on in early game. Now, in your character you got your equipment, your skills, companion trait, unique equipment, growths, you got your training, level, research, and in world you have your dungeons and your adventure modes. Now we're going to start off by going through your equipment and what you should be doing in early game or even when you hit a snag. Now, the most important thing here is in the early game is you want to try and get the higher rarity. You want to upgrade your rarities as much as you can. And the way you're going to be doing that is by summoning. Now it's important to note that you shouldn't be worried in spending too many diamonds or gems when summoning for your weapons, gear, accessories. Just because the gems in this game is kind of the base currency and you get it from everywhere. So don't sort of hold back in summoning. I'd probably say keep about half your diamonds or just a bit under half, just because there may be times where you want to focus on either one, specifically for upgrading skills, which we'll go into in a second. But the most important part here is that you want to increase your level. And you see this little bar here on each of them. And once you increase this, your rate it actually increases. And this is the most important part, because when your rate increases, you're getting a chance to get higher rarity gear, and that is what's important in trying to push in early stages of the game. When you get high rarity of this gear, what happens is this static stat or these stats on each weapon increases the higher rarity you go and the more stars you go. And that's important because attack amplification is very useful, and these things can be enhanced, which moves me on to the second point. You should be enhancing things when you are stuck, or even in the early game at the start, but more so when you are stuck, just because in early game you want to focus on getting the highest rarity as much as you can by summoning and enhancing that one. You may come across a time where you can't progress that much from the rarity, which will probably be around level 4, level 5 in the summoning. And that's when you'd want to focus on synthesizing what you already have. And by synthesizing, you are just obviously increasing one item to the next. And what's important here is you're enhancing these. Now, this is also important because when you enhance, you are increasing the top stat of the weapon or the gear. And what this does is when you enhance these to 50, or when you hit 50 on the spot at the top, you are increasing your mastery level. And this is very, very, very important, especially when you hit a roadblock. Not maybe so much in early game, but it's something that you want to build up towards as you go along. Now, the most important ones to sort of focus on in enhancing would be, in terms of the gear itself, I would say the necklace, just because this gives you final damage amplification, which is very, very, very useful. Final damage amplification, simply put, is the damage that your character does after all buffs and debuffs have been applied. From there, you have your earrings, which do boss damage amplification and normal damage, normal monster damage amplification. These three are very important, and also you can see their corresponding mastery levels. The next one, you got boots, armor, and also weapon. Armor, again, you don't want to focus on for final damage amplification, and your weapon, not so much as for these stats here, just because these give you HP, which is not that relevant in early to mid game. But for the mastery stats, they are definitely needed, so don't skip out on that. Now, moving on, skills. Skills, I'm going to do a whole separate series because there's too much to cover and there's a lot to go through. But the main thing is that you still want to, this ties in with summoning for your weapons and your accessories, because you would need a dupe, which is a duplicate, to feed into the skill to learn it. So that's why it's important to summon and get your levels up to increase your rarities and so on and so forth. Now, the companions. What are the best companions for early game or free to play, or if you have 3 stars? The ones that you want to focus on essentially is Feng for normal damage, normal monster damage amplification, Lazi for attack, and Drip Soup for boss monster, and also Choco BB for final damage. These 4 are your best bets for early game, if you do not have any 3 stars, you'd want to create a preset. So if you come to skill, you can create a preset for each thing. So you can see this is my farming, this is my boss set, and you'd want to sort of sort these out into that. So for example, Feng does normal 1 star, so you'd have normal 1 star, you'd have attack, and you'd have final damage for your normal mob clearing stages. And then for bosses, you'd replace Feng with drip soup for boss monster damage. And this is what you do. Now, once you've got your 3 stars, which for some people maybe today on the 7th day with your free tickets, and for others maybe in a few days time, again, you just replace the corresponding 2 stars or 1 star with their 3 star counterparts, which does the similar effect. The only difference here would be you'd put Witch instead of Choco BB because there's no final damage 3 star yet. And that would be for more so for bosses. And you got your normal damage and attack, etc., etc. All this information can be found in the Discord below and also in the main Discord chat for the game. Moving on, traits. Now, traits again will be a whole separate video just because there's a lot of traits to cover, and you should be sort of known how to use this through the tutorial. But essentially, you get 1 trait, 1 core point every 10 levels, and you can use this to put into and activate a skill. These skills can be deactivated and changed up to however you want, and also you can attune these skills with these core traits that you get from chests. You got a chance to make it go up and down, etc., etc. These things that you should have known from the tutorial. Anyways, unique equipment, again, it's not something so much early game people need to worry about. If you do get unique equipment from the chest, for example, open them, slap them on. But the effects and what the best ones will be going further into in later videos. Moving on to training. Now in early game, you're going to have these 3 stats only, not the rest of them. And what you're going to want to focus on is your attack. I normally put my attack about 200 levels ahead of my HPs. In this case, I've got it 300. But about 200 levels is a good sort of place to put it at. If you want to go more, you can go more, but just know that some skills do use HP, which is why it's important to also upgrade your HP skills. Moving on to levels. This part's quite important. Now, I just leveled up, and what you're going to want to focus on, again, in early game, you've got your final damage, your attack, basic attack, skill damage, boss monster, and your damage to a normal monster. Now, it depends what companion you have and your gear, your mastery levels as well, in which you should be focusing on. But generally, I'd probably go intellect, dex, strength, but you can go and do it as you see fit, depending on your sort of circumstance. And abilities, this is where the second most important part of the leveling system comes into play. What you want to do to min-max your sort of progress would be to focus on gold gain and XP gain. I did mention this in the previous video and the reroll guide, but these 2 are the best abilities you can get. Other than that, other ones that are good are damage to boss monster, skill amplification attack, normal damage, basic attack, and also mana. And obviously, if you don't have any of these, then the other ones you could go for skill damage amplification, and again, not so much HP. So for example, if you look here, gold gain, that's what you'd get, right? And if you don't have one, then you can just reroll and see if you can get another skill or ability. Research, again, research, you get the points, the ether from the adventure mode, from the little mini game. And what's important about this is I don't think it's too bad to spend some gems on this, especially in early game, just because you can get a lot of benefits from it. And again, like I said, the gems in this game, they're quite near enough infinite. You get them every day, you get quite a lot. So it's not bad to use some gems to finish them if you have extra ether lying around. If you don't have any extra ether, you can just leave it and wait. But that is for research. Again, there's nothing specific to focus on because you'll be doing everything at the same time anyways. But that is that. For world, we are coming into the dungeons. The dungeons, you get 3 keys a day for free. You can also get an additional 3 keys for watching an ad, which I recommend you do so. And you can also get a further 3 keys from the exchange shop, which again, I recommend you do so because again, it's only 3,000 gems each, which is not anything in terms of gems. So you can get 9 keys a day. And it's important to try and push these as much as you can when you are stuck, at least, just because when you get stronger, you can push for later stages, as opposed to if you do it at the start of the day when you are weaker. And that's something to remember. As the day goes on longer, you'll get stronger, as this is an idle game. So it's also good to remember to take this at your own pace and take it easy, relax, and all the rest of it. Moving on to the last tab, the Adventure tab. You have your Path of Awakening and the Underground Labyrinth. Both are very self-explanatory. You also have your Nightmare territory, which will be covered in another video, just because it's not really meant for early game. Path of Awakening, I don't know exactly what stage you unlock it at, but you want to focus on this as much as you can. Every time you feel like you've gotten stronger, you should come and give it a go, just because you get very nice buffs to attack, HP, and it's quite nice. Underground Labyrinth is pretty straightforward. I'm sure everyone knows how to do that. That's for your research, so you'd want to do that as much as you can. I haven't done mine today, which I need to do. And that covers, I think, most of the introduction to mechanics and also what you should be focusing on in early game. I will also try and compile a sort of list of what CP you would need for each stage, just so it's a bit easier for people to know what goal to hit, so they can get to the next rank. And one more thing which I forgot to mention is the pills, the buffs that you can get from the exchange shop. The one I recommend in the beginning would be the luck pill. This will increase your XP gains by 50% and also your gold gains by 100% per stage, and also the attack and luck coin buff. Yeah, these are very good in early game. I'd recommend you always use them whenever you are going through and playing, just because it will increase your gold, it will increase your XP, which will increase your level, which will increase your attack, and so on and so forth. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed this guide on the introduction to the mechanics and what you should focus on in early game. Next video, I'm going to be going through the best way to level up and what you could do, or what you should do when you are stuck at high stages. As always, please like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more guides and updates, and feel free to join the Discord in the description below, where you can ask any other questions or leave any other video suggestions that you want. And as always, I'll see you guys later. Thank you and bye.